Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is July 12th, and today we're taking a look at the visible satellite imagery here across Pacific Northwest. You can see glorious sunshine for much of the region, just some high clouds. But down here through California and Oregon, you can see some of this activity start to slide up into the Oregon Cascades. Eventually going to move through eastern Oregon, eastern Washington, and Idaho, bringing the potential for some thunderstorms this evening and overnight tonight. Checking out western portions here, you can see the low clouds coming through the Strait of Juan de Fuca towards Whidbey Island here, and some stubborn clouds down there through southwest Washington. Those, they don't move too much, but they slowly burn off during the daytime. See some breaks of sunshine down the Oregon coast here, but you can see those low clouds kind of moving down in that northerly flow with that typical Pacific high that we get during the summertime. If you look closely, you can see how these low clouds kind of move into these little valleys here up into the Olympics and along the coastal range of Oregon as well. And checking out down south here, you notice kind of this hazy nature to some of these what look like clouds, but it's actually some smoke from fires coming from California. So there are some fires going on down there. So you might see some of this activity or the smoke move through eastern Washington, Oregon, and through Idaho. So that's where that's coming from, California. The good thing is we have somewhat of an onshore flow, so we're not going to get a lot of this smoke up in through western Washington and Oregon, and we're going to keep shunting the smoke off to the east as we go through the next few days at least. And we'll continue to watch that on into the future because it's becoming that time of year where fires start to break out, and we have to watch where the smoke originates from. California is a big producer of our summertime smoke a lot of times. Other times it's British Columbia or Washington, Oregon, as in past years. And sometimes we can get forest fire smoke as far away as from Siberia that we notice. Just kind of gives us some nice tinted sunsets. So checking things out, infrared satellite imagery here. You see the trough that's dug over the Gulf of Alaska, bringing some ridging, a slight ridging for the Pacific Northwest. That's warming us up yesterday and today. You see that hurricane. This thing looks smaller than it did yesterday. It's because it's starting to move towards cooler water here. It's going to start dissipating here. And you can see trade winds for Hawaii. Yesterday's SeaTac 86 degrees. That's 9 degrees above average. Still nowhere near that 98 in 2007, though. Checking out Portland, look at this, 96 yesterday, 15 degrees above average, but still not towards their record high of 104 and a big heat wave in 1961. Look at this, Astoria, Oregon, 80 degrees, 13 degrees above average. Probably going to be cooler today. There are more clouds around, but there should be some sun breaks. You might get up a little bit above average for Astoria here. But still, look at that record high in 1961. What a heat wave, 100 degrees at Astoria, Oregon. And checking this out, Salem, 100 degrees yesterday, just 3 degrees off their record high in that huge heat wave of 1961. Average temperature this time of year is about 83 for Salem, and so you're going to be above that also again today. This is for Bellingham, Washington. Nice day yesterday, 84, 10 degrees off the record high, and about 12 degrees above the average high for this time of year, 71. Now checking this out, this is that thunderstorm activity. You can see that kind of move through southern Oregon and through eastern Oregon up towards Washington and Idaho overnight hours into tomorrow morning. And checking out the NAM here, it shows a little bit different here. Excuse me. It shows a little bit different here. Some of the thunderstorm activity moves up through eastern Washington and through eastern Oregon as well. But some of the stronger storms look to be up in Washington versus the UW GFS here has it more northeast Washington. So just heads up for that thunderstorm threat, mainly tonight on in through tomorrow morning eastern portions. This is looking at the HRRR 3KM. This is great resolution. You can see today lower 80s for Seattle, possibly upper 80s Willamette Valley. You can see the cooler temperatures along the coastline and down the strait, and much warmer in eastern Washington. Some areas getting up towards 100 degrees today. And you can see the real heat down through the southwest, Nevada, California's valleys down there too. But now here we're taking a look at the HRRR 3KM. Check this out. You can see some fires burning down there in California, but we put this into motion. See, it's releasing quite a bit of smoke. Let's back up a little bit to the 12Z so we can go out a little bit further. But you can see we've got kind of this westerly, southwesterly flow that's going to keep a lot of this smoke out of our area. Almost looks like showing a little bit of a fire here in South Washington too. But yeah, you can see the smoke gets shunted off. So once we get a pattern out of the south or southeast, that's when we really have to start worrying about the smoke from California getting up into our region. But we're going to be okay for a while. We'll continue to watch that here off into the future though. GFS calling for even some pretty warm temperatures as we go through the day today. Check this out, showing up towards 90 for Seattle. Same thing for Portland, Willamette Valley, Eastern Washington, 100 degrees and a little bit cooler, actually quite a bit cooler along the coastline there with some cloud cover and down the strait towards Whidbey Island as well. But I think the GFS is probably a little bit warm with this for Seattle, but Portland might be in the upper 80s. So we'll see how that goes. As we go on into tomorrow, you'll notice drops it off about 9 degrees and a bit for Willamette Valley too as we get some marine influence into the region here. Remains hot in eastern Washington and Oregon though. Now checking out, this is the European 500 millibars. You can see that trough that got our ridging going here for these couple of warm days. And as we go on through Wednesdays, that trough swing by, we're going to bring that marine influence and cool us down a bit. But then we're watching to see how much this next trough amplifies here on in through later this week into the week. And that's going to make the determination on just how warm we get across the Pacific Northwest here before this trough tries to swing through, cool us down a bit through later on in the weekend here. And then you can see that trough reestablishing itself across the Gulf of Alaska and British Columbia here. So this is a good thing, folks. I mean, otherwise we're going to start building ridges and we'll start getting heat waves in the area. So this troughing is going to be a nice summertime pattern, seasonable temperatures, and quite nice weather across the Pacific Northwest, and even some precipitation up to British Columbia. And when you get troughing like this, you're going to spawn some severe weather off through Montana and Canada off in the upcoming days here. And this is something I might go chase on in through later this weekend into the weekend here. So we'll see how that goes. I may fly out there for that, but I'll keep you guys updated. This is the GFS. It kind of shows similar trough moving through Wednesday. Next trough amplifies offshore as we go on in through this weekend. And that kind of swings through later on through the weekend here. And then we kind of reestablish. Oh, this is the 12Z. It only goes that far, but it tries to start to reestablish Gulf of Alaska troughing here. We'll see how that goes. We're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves here. This is GFS for Portland, 06Z ensemble run. Cools us down a bit tomorrow. Then we bump back up a little bit here Thursday, Friday, Saturday, for we might drop back down again as a trough moves through. But nice seasonable temperatures here. Check out just a glorious summertime pattern here coming up here for much of the Pacific Northwest. Not letting us get too hot, but not chilly by any means. And Spokane here, you can see that trough moving through north of the area here, and then a little bit bump as we go towards the weekend, then maybe another trough passing through early next week. Seattle Tacoma, the GFS kind of shows a pretty hot day coming up today for Seattle, and a bit of a cool down here, maybe a little bit of a return Friday, Saturday before we drop back down again. But look at these temperatures, nice and seasonable. And you can see pretty good agreement between the mean and the control until we get out towards early next week. And that trough position will mean everything as far as our temperatures go. So yeah, it's that time of the year again, folks, as the smoke finally starts to move into our region from California here. So we'll continue to watch that. I'll let you know if it's going to get bad up here, but right now it doesn't look like it's going to get bad for any regions. This is just mainly high smoke across the area to make some hazy skies, but nothing like the smoke storms we got in the last few years here through the Pacific Northwest. No major fires burning through Washington, Oregon, or British Columbia at this time that we have to worry about right now. And if a pattern emerges where we're going to bring some California smoke in here, of course, you'll be the first to know if you're watching the channel here. So yeah, click like and subscribe, leave some comments below, and we'll talk again tomorrow.